What makes someone a bad storm chaser?
It was a money grab. You know, he didn't focus on the customer.
Last year we did 30 million. Well, this year we're very close to probably being on par to do 40 million.
You actually decided to sue the government. How did it all came about?
We were defending our families, which we were actually surprised that a Republican governor would sign off on something that would prohibit hardworking blue-collar Americans from putting food on their tables.
We were uncomfortable with the idea.
We didn't want to sue the DBPR. That's not good. They're our license holders. We'll lose money on a job before we have a dissatisfied customer.
Do you still work out at the Lifetime?
I have an LA Fitness membership and a Lifetime membership as well. I know we didn't steal the Lifetime Quality Roofing name from Lifetime.
There is a story rolling around.
Alex, Zach, first question I have for you is, let's start with your operations, or our audience understands what kind of company you are, what kind of business owner you are, business owners. Tell me about your volume and states that you operate.
Sure. So I'm Alex Gehard. We own Lifetime Quality Roofing and Lifetime Quality Roofing Companies, which encompasses Gale Force Roofing and Restoration out of Tampa, Florida. And we also own Lifetime Quality Roofing Pittsburgh, PA, and Lifetime Quality Roofing Storm Restoration out of Columbus, Ohio. So from inception of the company, we saw contractors, particularly one that we had originally worked for, really focus on the wrong parts of the business. It was a money grab. You know, he didn't focus on the customer service, quality of the product he was putting on, and it really made it easier for us to leave that business and want to go start something anew. And when we did, we made some very easy decisions, because we basically said to ourselves, if we do everything the opposite of what we've seen, we're going to be okay. So, we have a very customer-centric business. We want every single roof we put on, we want those people to feel like they just hired their brother to come put the roof on. We have homes, we have families. I want to have the same experience as if somebody came and put my own roof on my house. That's what we want our customers to feel. And we try to live that every single day.
And I think that when we first got into the industry, Alex and I just didn't want to take part. We wanted to take over. We wanted to dominate the markets that we were in. We knew that there was a lack of large restoration contractors. We had a couple big, like Pinnacle companies that were retail based, and a ton of small restoration contractors. But we knew that we could grow to fill that void in the industry. So we focused, like he said, on customer experience and having a superior knowledge of the insurance restoration industry, and that's how we grew to that.
We actually go through each year and have what did we do right and wrong this year with every single one of our employees, because we want to hear from every perspective what we can do better, how we can better service the customer. We actually, we have meetings to go through all of our company processes internally, but then in an external customer facing, we actually go through all of our processes that deal directly with the customer and make sure that we're providing the absolute best service to our customer as well. And we just call them customer experience meetings. But they go very well, because sometimes when you run into a process that you've been doing for a long time, you start to see, well, hey, from a customer standpoint, maybe this doesn't make as much sense as doing it this way. And we're huge on communication. We try to actually over communicate to our customers. I'd rather a customer tell me, hey, can you guys stop calling me to give me updates, than a customer say, hey, I haven't received a phone call in 3 weeks or a month. And you see that across the board in the industry. A lot of contractors do that.
To get back to your question, so you wanted to know the scale of the business. So over the past 6 years, we've been able to grow. Last year we did 30 million total. This year we're very close to probably being on par to do 40 million. We do about 2,500 installs over the Columbus, Pittsburgh, and Gale Force Tampa market.
Oh. Would you say you're obsessed to do stuff differently? I notice, and for my audience, I'll just explain. Usually when we give people this mic, I ask them to fish it through the shirt. And my guest here, I've never seen anybody do it. He actually put the mic on and he dropped it from the top, explaining to me that, there's a gravity, my shirt was tucked in, it's easier. And I heard this phrase already. I catch up on the words fast, like 3 or 4 times. We didn't want to do what competition is. Like, for example, when I ask them about someone in the industry, they're like, yeah, we didn't want to pay attention to what other people. Are you obsessed with your own way, and are you obsessed with doing stuff that other people don't do?
That's kind of a double-edged sword. I would say that we're very big on taking other processes that we see work in other industries, especially, and recreating them in our own company and using them.
What industry you learned the most from?
That's a good question. I think that, where he was kind of going with that was marketing focused. We're very, very big on progressive marketing, and we feel that a lot of contractors are stuck in the mud. Their processes are super archaic, and that's something that we've tried hard to not fall in that rut and to be progressive. And we have a lot of different things that we do as a company that really shed light on using all of the marketing functions synergistically together. Instead of just one, glaring marketing, thing that you're doing, like SEO or maybe paid ads is like our main focus. We do it all, and we make sure that we talk to our team about that all the time. It's not one thing you do; it's everything, and it correlates together and works, better that way. So, just for an example, recently we had Ryan Serhant from $1 Million Listing come to town. And we thought, what better of a way to talk to a direct referral for us, but realtors are very interested in $1 Million Listing Ryan Serhant. So we brought him to town. We hooked up with a big car garage in the area that owns like $40 million worth of cars. He went there, shot a YouTube video, actually drove a Bugatti Chiron to our event. And then, obviously spoke to the realtors. So that was just kind of a progressive form of marketing. We haven't seen anybody else in the industry do that, so that's different. So we're always thinking outside the box.
Recently, you've been all over the news in Florida here. Kudos to you. You have balls to go after government, essentially. You won the case. Tell me about that. What's behind it? Why did you decide to go after? Everybody was talking about 76 bill. Everybody, every contractor, every PA, every lawyer, everybody wanted to say something about it. You actually decided to sue the government. Sure. How did it all came about?
So everybody seems to think that we went on the offensive and that we attacked. When everybody else was trying to wait around and see actually, where the dust settled. We don't see it that way. We feel like we were just defending. We were defending our way of life. We were defending our families. When you own a business, especially, because we're up around, we have 50 W-2 employees in Columbus. We have 25 to 30 down here in Tampa. We have, a few hundred subcontractors that do all of our installs that we've had since day one, that we've, heavily vetted to make sure we're providing a quality product to our homeowners. And when we make decisions, it's not based on us and how these things directly affect us. It's how they directly affect our families and the people that work for us and putting food on their tables. So when we started saying, well, hey, this violates our way of life and it's going to hinder our business, and we saw the looks on people's faces, we had to act. And so we saw SB 76 coming from a mile off. I mean, they've been trying to pass it since January. The legislation has been introduced in different forms for 10 years. And then last day of legislative session, they threw in the, hey, we're going to try to prohibit the ability of roofers to, help homeowners find alternative funding solutions through insurance claims, basically soliciting and marketing. And we said, absolutely not. And we had about a month before the governor signed it into law. And in that month prep time, we prepared our lawsuit, because we said, if the governor signs this, which we were actually surprised that a Republican governor would sign off on something that would prohibit hardworking blue-collar Americans from putting food on their tables. People that dump millions and millions of dollars back into the Florida economy every single year, hundreds of millions, if you look at every single roofing company and what they do, and then look at all the people that we support through that, and building suppliers and their families and so forth and so on. And, we just weren't going to take it. We were going to stand up and we were going to fight against, what's wrong, and fight for what's right.
Yeah, so. And we were uncomfortable with the idea of it, but we have a saying, get comfortable being uncomfortable at our business. And I think it was one of those things where, we didn't hesitate. We thought about it, we talked about it, but there was no hesitation in what we had to do. We wanted to take care of our employees and make sure that our livelihood was staying intact.
I mean, we didn't want to sue the DBPR. That's not good. They're our license holders. That we actually just got another license approved for general contractor work through them within the last few weeks. So we'd start installing windows and doors and things like that as well. And we absolutely did not want to sue them. And we have nothing against the DBPR. They just so happen to be the regulatory body that got put in charge of trying to enforce this law. And not all parts of the law we were totally against. There are parts in that law about inducing homeowners by giving them gift cards or paying them hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars so that you could file an insurance claim on their roof. And we don't see that as the right thing to do either. So there were parts of the law that we weren't in agreement with a lot of it, but there were parts of it that made sense. But attacking directly roofers and prohibiting and discriminating against us because of our profession and trying to prohibit our language because of that was not the right way to go about it. So during the legislative process, the Office of Insurance Regulation came out with this study, and they surveyed all the insurance companies. About 58% of them participated, and it said, there's $40 billion of insurance fraud a year in Florida, and they're running around all these legislators and saying, if we stop this, we stop these claims from coming in by stopping the roofers, we'll be able to stop insurance fraud. And that's probably why they were able to induce all those senators and politicians to vote for this bill. And that encompassed auto insurance fraud and roofing and water restoration and healthcare and you name it, frauds of all types across all spectrums. And when the judge actually asked the insurance company during our court hearing, hey, what part of this actually correlates directly to roofers and insurance fraud? How much fraud are we going to stop? They had no idea because they hadn't done any research to figure that out, because all they cared about was roofers are out there helping homeowners. Homeowners are filing insurance claims, and insurance claims hurt our bottom dollar.
It was the state's burden to show that limiting communication between contractors and homeowners was going to cut down on $40 billion of insurance fraud, and they couldn't show the correlation between the two. And the judge even gave an analogy. He said, it's like laying an entire bed of claymores in your backyard to kill one particular animal and just kill all of them. It just didn't make any sense. So, it just wasn't right.
He also made a statement that, well, if we're going to go about it this way, we basically might as well stop everybody from being able to file claims, and then you won't have any claims to worry about.
I love it. What would you answer to those critics of you, because I already found a few, who might accuse you of using your progressive marketing by suing, state that, you're doing it for publicity, for marketing purposes and stuff like that?
No, we didn't do it for that at all. And I think it's the position of Gale Force that, and the umbrella that is the lifetime quality companies to make it very clear that we don't stand for any manipulation of the insurance market or insurance fraud in any way, shape, or form. We have tons of checks and balances within our own companies to make sure that those things don't happen. We have, manager file reviews of our photos on a regular basis. We have guys wear GoPros. We have no damage forms that we leave behind for customers to show that we don't call in every single roof to make sure that we're covering all the bases. So it's contractors doing it the wrong way, really, that make these.
Can you elaborate on no damage forms? I absolutely love it.
Yeah, so when we do an inspection for a customer and we don't find any damage on the property, and maybe they had a recent storm event, we'll get down from that and advise the customer, hey, you have no damage on your roof, obviously. At this time, we'd love to come back out next time you have a storm and take a look at your roof, and we have them sign a no damage form just showing that we inspected the property and we located no damage on that property.
And
leave that behind
didn't
for the
tell them to file an insurance claim, or tell them they could, or what have you.
Yeah, so for the critics that don't support what we did, this was blatantly a violation of our constitutional rights and our First Amendment right of free speech. So I'm not really sure how you could be opposed to that.
Sure. Do you call yourself a storm chaser, or how do you identify yourself?
We don't, because a storm chaser, if you actually try to define the term or look at the industry
definition.
Definition of the term. They are people that will travel across the country to go chase a hailstorm, go where the hurricane is, so forth and so on. We don't do that. We set up shop in a particular city for demographic reasons or geographic reasons or what have you, where we think a business can thrive, and we stay there. If you look at all of our companies, we're not Lifetime Quality Roofing flying to Iowa right now because Iowa just got blasted by a hailstorm, and we're signing people up, offering them a warranty, and then as soon as we get the roof on and their insurance money, we're leaving town. We don't do any of that.
No, we're not storm chasers in any form of the word. We're actually helping the neighbors in our backyards every day. That's what we do.
We like to sleep at night. We don't want to be stressed about it. We don't try ever to screw anybody over, and we'll lose money on a job before we have a dissatisfied customer. And we'll do that across the board every single time, because the only thing you have in this world is your word, and you don't break it for anybody.
And that's another progressive thing that we do that's different from other companies. And I've noticed a lot of large companies, 100 million plus in the industry, they don't have a lot of reviews or a lot of positive reviews. And that's something that we really focus on.
We'll come back to it later. I want to cut you short there because I have a few
Sure.
questions about your reviews actually. Take me back to your humble beginnings. I want to know, how did you guys two meet? How did you start this business? And I want to hear the story from very early on.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, so we met at LA Fitness. I was working at LA Fitness selling gym memberships. I was very good at it. And they were about to open a new club. And we were looking for, good salespeople to bring in for our team to open that new location. And he just so happened had been in the roofing industry for about 3 months or so and had gone into the end of the season, which in Ohio, we have seasons. In the winter, you typically don't roof, or, we can't very often due to weather. So he was like, hey, I just can't sit on my couch and wait, and do nothing for the whole summer. I've got to go do something. So we hired him at LA Fitness.
When was that?
That would have been December of 2015,
yeah.
No, 2014. 2014?
December of 2014, yeah. Got off to a great start selling gym memberships. We were top 10 in the country, and he kind of looked at me and said, hey, you should come sell roofs. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not going to go sell roofs. And he's like, no, you don't understand. So as we kind of went on, the managers at LA Fitness had offered him a few promotions, and he was just kind of like, no, I'm going back to roofing. I'm not really interested in that.
And they were very, very angry.
Yeah,
very angry.
At that point in time, it was kind of like the scene from Wolf from Wall Street, where if you can show me the money, I'm going to go do this. So he took me out. I did some roofing for a week or so, and I saw how good it was, what the possibilities could have been, and there was no question in my mind that's what I needed to do. So he actually was my manager for about 3 to 4 months at this other company. Like he said, we saw all the things you shouldn't do as an owner, and not taking care of the customers, and not paying your salespeople. And we decided that we were going to obviously start our own company because we could do this better. And
So six years, $30 million.
6 years. So the first year, we don't count 2015, the actual year we started, because we only had like 3 months. So starting in 2016, we did 1.8 million. Following year was 3.2. Following year was 4.3. Then we had a huge growth year. And like we said, every year we sit down with everybody and we go through, what did we do right, what we do wrong, and we spent so much time every winter for 3 years figuring out all the processes, making sure they were scalable so that when we were bringing more people into our organization, we were ready to grow. And when we started sitting down with them that third year, we'd bring a sales guy in, and we'd say, hey, what was good, what was bad? We want to hear about the bad because we want to fix it. And when they started going, nothing, this is a great place to work and we love it here and you guys have changed my life and whatever else, we said, all right, well, now the processes are there, it's time to grow. So we went from somewhere between 4.3, 4.4 million to 13 million the next year, which was a huge jump. And then obviously we did 30 million last year, so we had some pretty
More than double.
yeah.
Crazy. Do you still work out at the Lifetime?
I still work out. I have an LA Fitness membership and a Lifetime membership as well. And no, we didn't steal the Lifetime Quality Roofing name from Lifetime, but
There is a story rolling around, and I got asked it, and they said, oh yeah, you and Zach met at a Lifetime Fitness, right? That's why it's Lifetime Quality Roofing. We were like, no, not at all. That's not it at all. So we put a Lifetime shingle on. The only time we will put a 3-tab shingle on is if there are very strict guidelines and ordinances from a particular community about what they're allowed to put on the roof, and it's very few and far between. Other than that, we put a Lifetime shingle on, we provide a quality service, and we're a roofing company. So it kind of made sense to blend all the three together. And
we have a lifetime warranty as well.
Yes, we do.
So,
yeah.
Why did you go with different name, Florida? Why is it Gale Force?
It's a subsidiary, and we actually have a business partner, a third owner down here. So yeah, it's still a OC Platinum contractor and all that because it's a subsidiary of the parent company. But that, and we were told by our other principal down here, our other owner, yeah, people in Florida, they're not going to know what the heck Lifetime Quality Roofing is. We should do Waterman Roofing or something. That's a big term in Florida, and we're like, what the hell is a waterman? You know, and then we're like, okay, so we ran through, you know, when you're going through a name, trying to name your company, you're trying to come up with the best name. And well, they get hit by hurricanes bring gale force winds. Gale Force Roofing is kind of where we ended. We like the name, so that's the direction we went in.
When I ask you about storm chasers, you're like, no, we're not storm chaser. Can you describe bad storm chaser? What makes someone a bad storm chaser?
The word brings on a negative connotation of what you think a storm chaser is, where somebody moves into town, creates a bunch of business, does poor work, and jumps out of town, doesn't give people warranties.
Do you see what's happening in your markets?
No. We're not in a huge hail market, and that's what usually brings them is the hail. There are good and bad. If you want to call them storm chasers, there are good and bad storm chasers. There are guys that go in, they link up with a local roofer that's actually still going to be there afterwards, be able to provide the warranty that they're promising people, and they do provide a quality product. So it's like any other profession, and I've touched on this in a couple other podcasts and interviews we've done. There are good and bad people in every single career path. In SB 76, they were trying to stop the bad contractors, and a lot of good contractors ended up getting hurt in the crossfire. Yeah. I mean, that's just what happens. So there's bad CPAs, there's bad doctors, there's bad people in every walk of life.
I'm glad you recognized it, because the 76 bill, like I talked to a lot of Florida contractors and they actually love it. The local guys, they're like, we need a change. What kind of change do you feel like this industry needs from authorities, from government level?
I have a question for you. Are those retail-based business owners or are those restoration-based business
just
owners?
Local, like guys who stay here, who are tired of storm chasers, who, they work hard, they have shops, they don't hate competition, but they wanted to change because they hated that someone found loopholes, like hiring lawyers on every claim. It's hard to compete when someone in town charges $1,500 a square and you charge $600 just because they can.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say to that is I don't agree with that, because you're limiting customers' abilities to be provided truthful information about alternative funding options or insurance. And if those customers don't have that knowledge given to them, they don't know what to do. Most people, less than 10% of people have $10,000, or 2% of people have $10,000 in their bank account. So they would have to, take out a second mortgage or look into doing a PACE program or something like that to be able to afford their roof. We've seen all too often homeowners be taking advantage from their insurance companies. We have. And when we moved down to Florida, there was one story we've told on other podcasts that we saw. We got in contact with a customer. We went out and looked at his roof, and he had over 20 tarps on his house. And at the ridge of his house, he had a plastic bag pushed down in a hole. And we got down off the roof and we said, what's going on with your ridge? Why was there a plastic bag put down in the hole? And he said, well, that's what the insurance adjuster told me to do, because they weren't paying for the roof.
To stop the water from coming into my house. Yeah.
So for contractors that think that the bill, could potentially help their business, it's hurting homeowners.
But we're not, we're actually not against change, because there does need to be change in Florida.
What changes needs to happen in your opinion?
So the problem is that, well, one, the lawyers' fees on some of these claims are absurd. One of the ones we heard yesterday, it was a 2 or 3 year old claim. The ending settlement ended up being $30,000, and there was $300,000 in lawyers' fees that were paid. And, the statistic is if they can stop the attorneys' fees from charging, people from getting attorneys to having to sue the insurance companies, they can bring down their costs by almost 67%. So they'd only have to be paying out 1/3. Now the problem is, it's the mishandling of claims that is the issue. And if everybody was just very streamlined with, okay, I'll charge whatever X is, X amount of dollars per square, and that's what you're getting in Florida, bottom line. If you want to work here, this is what you're going to get per square, and everybody agreed to it, then that would be fine. The problem is, every single roofer automatically submits to the insurance company's pricing when they use Xactimate. But when you use Xactimate, you actually put what you did in there as a licensed roofing contractor, because that's another thing. So inside of Xactimate and inside the line items themselves, there are options for DMO, which means demolition contractor, or roofing contractor. So I can't go and hire a demolition contractor, an unlicensed demolition contractor, to go tear a roof off in Florida. I have to go get a permit. I have to have several inspections to make sure, they do a dry-in inspection and a nailing inspection, and then they do a final inspection to make sure the roof was put on properly. And I'm violating the regulations of the DBPR if I send an unlicensed contractor to go out there to tear that roof off. But inside of Xactimate, that DMO line item is what that is actually paying for. So when you change the pricing to what you actually did and every facet of what you have to do per code and per law, it makes the price inside of Xactimate pretty high. And then when you show it to the insurance company, they don't want to pay for it. And the field adjusters have, hey, I can pay, we'll say $400 a square. Depends on the insurance company, of course. This is all relative, but we'll say $400 a square. Well, you say, well, we did all this work and it's $650 a square by your own pricing, and here's the price. And then they say, well, I can't do that. And then they force your hand to try to go get what you're, at that point, deserved. And there's nothing you can do about it other than, in some instances, hire a lawyer. We don't want to hire a lawyer. In Columbus, Ohio, we have never sued an insurance company. We have done worked with homeowners and insurance companies on over 5,000 claims in Ohio, and we have never sued an insurance company, ever. And I never would want to. We have a great relationship. Our sales manager right now went out to when he started with the company, he changed from a bad company, brought him in. We are very weird about hiring people from the industry in a lot of instances because they can bring bad habits. And we want to train our people.
To do stuff differently, your way.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We
definitely do it differently.
But his very first, claim he was assisting a homeowner with, he went out. I'm not going to name the insurance company. We have a great relationship with them. The adjuster showed up to the house, got out of his car, took one look at him, saw the shirt he was wearing, walked up to the front door and told the homeowner, hey, if he's standing here, you have justifiable roof damage. I'm going to go ahead and replace your roof. They're a great company and you should use them to replace it. And we immediately got a phone call. What are you guys doing? And we're like, what are we doing? Yeah, are you guys paying these adjusters off, or like what's going on? I've never seen anything like this. And we're like, well, what happened? And he told us a story and we started laughing. We're like, yeah, we have a great relationship with them because we help assist homeowners with it. They actually have damage. And that's the big thing. We're not creating damage. We're not calling in bullshit. We're trying to help people. That's what we do every single day.
It goes back to that checks and balance system that we have within our own company. We make sure that our guys are always doing the right thing. We train them. We get a lot of green guys that don't have any experience in the industry, and we train them properly to do what they're supposed to do. Do the right thing and always do what you say you're going to do.
Absolutely.
Do you see in Ohio, in your market, that roofers still do mechanical?
Absolutely.
Damage?
Yeah. See it all the time.
It's very sad.
It's very prevalent, and it's very
What's the
frustrating
punishment for them? Insurance prosecuting those cases?
We don't know because we're not super involved in it. We do know an attorney that represents several companies in the area, and he has given us word that, hey, the insurance companies are sometimes setting up trap houses to go catch people out there creating damage, so forth and so on.
And it needs to be done. It needs to be regulated because it causes bills like this to go into place, or at least try to go into legislative. It's very frustrating for us as somebody that does it the right way because it puts a stain on the industry. Every year you hear about, bad fraudulent contractors when we're going into storm season. And then people are like, oh my gosh, don't let a roofer on your roof. So it's one of those things that's frustrating for us because we're out there doing the right thing.
And you got to think, so in 1,000 roofs that go on, there might be one bad contractor that goes out there and takes an insurance check or, gets arrested for this, that, or the other. But that's the guy on the news, We were lucky enough, so Tampa, Fox 13 out of Tampa interviewed us about House Bill 76, and the first thing he said was, hey, are you guys still doing, working with wounded veterans in putting on free roofs for them with Habitat for Humanity OC? We said, yeah, absolutely, we're doing that. So he ran that clip first.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, well, then right after that, what our affiliate down here told us was, he said, yeah, as soon as that ended, they said, by the way, rate hikes for insurance premiums are going through the roof in Florida. So they followed up our fantastically good news that put us in a great spotlight with all the insurance rates are going up in Florida. And we're like, oh, good, great. So now we're right in front of that too. So
how do you manage your online reviews? Because for your size, for $30 million business, to have 4.9 stars pretty much across the board, it's unheard of. How do you manage your reviews?
So yeah, it goes all the way back to doing those customer experience meetings within the company. We do them quarterly. We sit down with every department and we look at our processes from the customer standpoint and we say, what can we do better to make sure that they have the best experience possible? We're very proactive about having our guys make sure that they're, setting the proper expectations with their customers at all time, and then every single piece of our business follows the same expectations that were set by the sales guys. So we ultimately feel like, we're providing our customers a superior model than any of our competitors, just from the attention to detail that we have for those customers and their projects. And when you do that, I feel like the reviews just come. So yeah, we have over 650.
We definitely ask for them, to be fair.
Yeah, we ask for reviews, of course. I mean,
do you pay Yelp?
We actually don't really even use Yelp. I don't think if you look on Yelp, we don't have that many reviews.
You have 10 reviews at Yelp, and they're all 5 stars. That's why I asked.
No, we don't. But I'll take it.
What the heck? How did you manage that?
Actually, it's funny you said that because we recently had a customer look us up online and say, oh my God, you guys even have 5 stars on Yelp. Nobody has 5 stars on Yelp.
Nobody has 5 stars on
That's
Yelp.
funny. Gee, somebody's now going to hop on our Yelp and write a bad review because of this interview. That's exactly what's about to happen.
Well, there's a lot of other good ones that back that one up, so.
Zach and Alex, absolutely amazing. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed this interview. Also, I wanted to give a huge shout out to my friends at JobNimbus. Zach and Alex have built $30 million company in 5 years using JobNimbus. It always drives me crazy when people complain about JobNimbus, saying JobNimbus cannot do this, it cannot do this. It's open platform, it's the cheapest CRM for roofing business. If people like Zach and Alex can build $30 million company, and they're not the only ones, FCA Roofing and my company will all been using JobNimbus, one of the best people in business. They just raised $53 million in 2020 to improve their CRM, and I promise you it's one of the best out there. Check them out, link below. Tell them Dmitry from Roofing Insights sent you.